It is my privilege and honor to introduce to you our Olivia Ludwig.
That was much nicer than anticipated, so thank you. Truth be told, I've never used a microphone, so I'm gonna hold it like my sister's telling me to do. Hello, I'm Olivia. I'm so excited to be here. I'm actually wearing Cathy Richardson on my shirt, which is amazing. I just started doing the marketing here at VoiceBox after 10 years. Maureen decided that it was time to do that. So please check us out on Instagram, the VoiceBox Chicago. And you can find more updates on our next themes coming up if you want to come up and tell your story. So tonight, thank you for letting me tell you mine. So, anyways, have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, what the fuck is that? And not in like the trendy self-deprecation way, but in a genuine curiosity, like what am I looking at? What is that? That's me, but that's not me. So weird. So I mention this because this used to be a very strange and common occurrence to me as a child. And now anyone who had the privilege of experiencing me as a child would describe me as very strange. And I'm not talking about the strange that have imaginary friends that never go away, or crawl on all fours like an animal, because I dabbled in that as well. But my strange was the overall overpowering confidence in my own strange personality. I was a wild child, and luckily had parents great enough to give me the expression to be who I was. So I loved to cut my own hair, dress myself. This would be a left shoe on the right foot, a right shoe on the left foot. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't care. It would also never be the same shoes. It would be a rain boot and a flip-flop, or a sneaker and a sandal. It was whatever I felt that day. And all the accessories, the mix-match clothes, and I was ready to go. I would be out with my family somewhere, and people would be like, oh, you let her dress herself? How cute! I was scared. But I loved it. But I think the strangest part of my childhood wasn't even acknowledged as strange at the time. I remember walking with my mom on Halloween when I was about 6, and in our little witchy costumes, I said to her, Mom, I'm an angel. And I don't remember what she said to that, but I'm sure it was something of encouragement and agreement, as my mother views me as a literal angel. But at 6, that's not what I meant. I wasn't educated on religion growing up. I went to church a few times a year, but I actually didn't even know what the Bible was until I was 7. I'm serious. I lost my innocence in the hotel room of a Wisconsin Dells when I found the book in the bedside table, and I said, Mom, someone left their book here. The Holly Bible. Yeah. I found out in the spurts of laughter from my sister and my mom that that's not what it was called. So at 6 years old, I didn't describe myself as an angel in the typical winged spiritual being, but I guess I just didn't have the vocabulary to describe what I really meant. But the feeling is something that has never left me. I remember often feeling that who I wasn't really me. As a child, I'd picture myself being strung up like a puppet by some higher being that was the real me. As if my actions and ideas were all a part of a divine screenplay with a brilliant choreographer who preferred to stay unnamed and unknown. I now have the vocabulary to describe the feeling of being bigger than your physical self, but that's for another story. And as a child, this deep feeling felt normal to me. I never felt the need to talk about it. It's just something everyone experienced, and I'll keep playing my role. But this feeling was its strongest when looking in the mirror. And you know, people say if you're on drugs, don't look in the mirror. Well, as a child, I perfected this. It wouldn't happen every time, but sometimes I'd get a glimpse of myself, and at just the right time, a wave of this phenomenon would just paralyze my body, and I would be in this trance-like state just staring at the mirror at myself. the amazement of looking at myself would keep me there for minutes, and my mind just spiraling like, what am I looking at? What is that? That's me? But that's not me. I'm that, but I am not that. And if I lift my arm, holy shit, I can lift my arm? What does that even mean? Just that whole what the fuck moment. Right? And now, this feeling followed me into my early years of high school. And I now understand what made me so amazed at this feeling. And it was the sensation that the body I saw looking at me in the mirror, all alone in the room I was in, didn't match the feeling I had that I was never alone. My whole life I had felt like two or more people at all times. So looking in the mirror at this one weird little body that all my energy and feelings and emotions was represented to the world as was really bizarre. But soon after about 13, things started changing. My mirror experiences faded away as I entered the time of many distractions. My attention could have been taken by my newly forming pimples or boobs, I don't know, but either way, the sensation that amazed me in my childhood faded as I was busy with changes. But I couldn't ignore it for long. My true essence came out to play again when, and I know this sounds cliche, I almost lost my life. And now, in the midst of the high school busyness, trying to pretend to be like other people while pondering the fabric of my existence seemed childish, I was woken up by a 107-degree fever that brought me to the hospital with toxic shock syndrome. Yeah. It was a 2-day-old tampon that did me in. It's a bummer. Yeah, it's a real bummer. Well, the nurses outside my door were telling my family she might not make it. But inside, I was having a rather pleasant time. I never really felt like I was in any real danger. I mean, there was poison in my bloodstream, but it kind of felt like, yeah, my body's got that. It's malfunctioning, it'll figure it out, but I know everything's gonna work out and I'm guided in where I need to be. I felt pretty special a lot. You know, the nurses would come in, oh, Olivia, how you doing? Good, how are you? Did you watch the game last night? How are the kids doing? You know, let's chat, what's going on? They really did their best to make me feel special on my deathbed. I even had a magician one night. That was fun, yeah. But anyways, I made a full recovery, which I'm grateful for, and I left the hospital, but that part was really hard. I realized it leaving the hospital in the car with my dad and seeing the world that had kept going while mine stopped. And lying in that hospital bed, all I wanted to be is back out in that world that was going. But now it felt like I didn't know how to. I mean, I had just found out my body would shut down without my own permission, and that I was indestructible. And at 16 years old, that lesson that you are not indestructible, that's just beyond me. So now I have to go to my high school teachers and ask them what work I've missed. I just survived a fatal illness and I still have to annotate To Kill a Mockingbird? I'm sorry. I'm confused now. So sorry. So that was just really bizarre to me. But it didn't feel like an option to open up about my enlightening near-death experience, so I did the easiest thing, to blend back in. Nothing's changed. Back to mindless partying, conversations, and whatever else to distract myself from myself. But I always get a way of getting back to myself, and I realized something was wrong. I had completely disassociated and had entire days where I couldn't remember who I was with or where I even was. Just a black hole. So I went to a doctor for guidance, and she explained it was normal after what I'd been through. It was post-traumatic anxiety disorder. She then related my situation to how she felt when her husband left her, and that was kind of awkward. But, you know, to each their own, I guess. So she said it would take time, and it did. And it's still taking that time to come back to myself. But like always, the universe has its way of drop kicking you right back where you're meant to be. And things may look different when I look in the mirror now, but at my core, nothing has changed.
Aww.